Okay guys, so we are back and I'm glad to have you guys back here. And we have a World War D, which is a casual defense game. And I guess this game is still in early stage. And I guess you guys have many things to talk about. And let's move on to first question. What's the first impression?
I thought it was pretty good first impression, but once you start playing, that's when you kind of goes downhill. I think the idea of the game is pretty cool. That you can like summon troops. It's kind of like a moving Plants vs Zombies type game.
Yeah.
But the problem is the buttons. The left side of the screen doesn't actually look like buttons, being able to move to the right and left. So actually, for the first level, I did the entire game on the left side of the screen. So I was shooting things I couldn't see. If there was like a moving arrow indicator on the right side of the screen showing that you have to go that way, I think that'd be a lot better. But yeah, and there's a lot of things where like that doesn't look like buttons on the main screen. When you want to upgrade stuff, when you click the commander, you would think that would be a button, but really just gives you some text dialogue and it doesn't do anything. But actually, the first impression, like the idea of the game is great. I think once you figure out how to play, it's like actually kind of a fun game. But I think it needs a little bit more of accessibility improvements.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad game. It's a game that I would play to kill time. It's not a game that I'm gonna go back there and I wanna make a high score. You know, it's like more like I'm flying on a plane. I don't have Wi-Fi. I have this game. It's probably better than the games that they have on the airplane. So I'm gonna play this. And yeah, the upgrading mechanics are a bit not very self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So it took a while to understand it. I think there are some good things about this game, of course. Basically, so the whole point is not to let the commander die, right? So you deploy different kind of troops to defend the commander and to push towards the end of the lane, right? So you also, and you have limited resources, of course. So you kind of have to think a bit how to deploy your troops. Not in the first levels, as they mentioned. First levels are pretty easy. So it takes a long time to get to a level where it's actually getting a bit more hard. But I guess what the developers wanted to do is to give that feeling that you are in control and you need to defend this commander. So you actually have to think and time how you deploy your troops. But this does not happen in the first levels because it's just too easy in the first levels. You don't really need troops; you can just shoot.
That's true.
But yeah, if you get to a harder level, definitely you have to time. You have to time it right. You have to know who to deploy, and you have to stay behind. You know, you have to move your commander. Yeah, it's not there yet. It takes time to get there, I guess. It's just long.
That's an interesting point. I think the game would almost be more fun if you don't move the commander. And I think that if it was more of a strategy game where you have to put shield people in the front and then you had to deploy people like strategically, having to move the commander, it turns it almost into like a cookie clicker-esque. Cookie clicker is just a game where you just click. It's like you're just clicking this, you're moving around. But the real, like the coolest part of the game is you unlock new troops and then you can know when to shoot them out, when to deploy things when things are dire.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah. Something I wanted to say in the beginning related to that. It's like the developer wanted to mix a tower defender game like Plants versus Zombie,
like
right?
Bloons, tower defense stuff.
Yes,
like that, yeah.
and something more dynamic, right? So this is what they're doing. But they made the fact that you can move your tower, in this case is the commander, makes it kind of not really. It's not really working because you can move your tower, so it's easier for you to survive longer.
Right.
So I think the idea is good. So mixing this tower defender and something more dynamic that you can actually move, but it's not there yet. I feel like you can just kind of hack the game by moving backward, you know.
Right. If you can figure out how to move.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's too early because like the game has its depth. Like you do have like several upgrades and there are different characters coming towards you. You do have like all these different vegetables and like cream cheese that you can receive. I don't know why they chose that instead of like coins or something. But there are several elements in the game, so I would say they took at least a bit of energy in like creating a big hierarchy and everything, how it can build up and how it can be very more strategic at the end.
Right.
Okay, really interesting opinions about first impression on World War D, and let's move on to the next question. I guess there is no social media things on this game. What do you guys think about it? Because usually most of games these days have social media things in it, but I guess this one doesn't have.
There would be, however, a fairly easy possibility to make it more fun, maybe with a multiplayer, because you have a very nice system that you can work against each other. So you can actually just one person goes that way, the other one goes that way, and then you can just deploy troops against each other and look how it ends.
I think this is one case where like less is more. Like because I just have unlimited bullets with my pistol, it just feels not special at all. I feel like this is one of the cases where all parties would benefit if you made each bullet much more impactful and you gave me a limited amount, and then it would make the game more fun for me, and then you paywalled it so I had to invite someone, which would make it more like a social media-esque, to get more bullets or something, and then everybody, the developers win. I don't feel like I'm just cookie clicking my way through every level. It has to be a balance. If it's slow paced, then all of your decisions need to matter way more if it's slow paced, and your decisions don't really matter at all. Whereas if it's dynamic, then it's more like you don't need to do as much high level thinking. It's just fun because you find yourself, there'll be some highlight because something happened, something crazy happened. It's unfortunate because I think that if they were to make it more strategy based, it would be a better game.
I think the cool thing about this game is the different types of weapons, right? There's like the flamethrower, the tank, the triple bullet, whatever, the mortar, right? The different types of weapons is really cool, but that's the coolest part of the game, and I can't use it. Because if I use a bullet, I can't, every time I use a bullet, I can't use a mortar. And I have to wait 5 seconds to use a mortar, whereas I can shoot 3 bullets in that time, right? So they're undermining some of the coolest components, which is the different weapons, the different things I can use, but I have to wait to be able to use it. I have to wait way too long to be able to use it.
I like that you compare it always to the tower defense. And they could integrate even more into this tower defense that you, for example, like in Team Fortress, that you have an engineer who builds some turrets at one spot, so that you create this way. It's less like just moving to the right, but actually performing some towers in the middle of the game to make it a bit more strategic. Then at the beginning, you might run to the front, set up a barricade and stuff like that. This way, you could maybe make it this without just being at one position.
I actually see it more as one-dimensional Contra rather than tower defense, personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think it would be kind of the same kind of question, and which is will be the last question also. And what do you say? When they want to import this game to Canada, to US, what do you guys say?
And regarding what not to do when going to the Western market or US or Canada, it's definitely to not make it more complicated than what it is right now. What it is right now is already pretty good. It's good enough in terms of mechanics. In terms of upgrading and features and whatever. It's all there. It doesn't need to be more complicated than this. Just the strategy wise or speed wise, the speed of the game, that's something that can be tweaked a bit. You can do some tweakings to bring some strategy thinking into it.
And Garno?
Yeah, I think the game is fine like this to just try it out, to see how people like it as a clicker game, and then if you really want to change some mechanics, you could do that. But just if the goal is, we discussed about the money, if the goal is just to make money with these in-app purchases and have it as a solo single-player game like this, then it's fine. Then I think they can launch it and try it, because it is not too flashy, as you said. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it for World War D. I can't wait for the next update. Yeah, and let's move on to Wolves and Pigs, Our
Yeah.
Folk Vengeance, and let's watch trailer first. I think North Americans are like VR game. I don't know, but yeah, let's see. First impression from North Americans first.
Sure.
All right, North America.
I mean, first impressions, I love VR. I think VR is the future. I thought this game was, I thought it was pretty simple. I thought there wasn't, but it was a weird combination of simple and like quite difficult actually. So like the mechanics of just swinging and then disarming things, and trying to get to an endpoint, which is always fun. I think one thing is VR, you're always limited to swinging or like teleporting, because actually if you do movement in VR, you'll get nauseous. So it is a little bit played out. Like almost every single VR game has that sort of mechanic of like swinging or teleporting. And so the fact that the main part of this game is just a mechanic that's shared among like a large majority of VR games is a little bit unfortunate. But still, I mean, I thought it was like you know, VR done bad is not immersive, but this was like somewhat immersive, so I thought it was pretty good.
And what about Gernot and Leo? Because I know you guys enjoying this game before the interview.
Yeah. Well, we played this for a while. I personally played this a lot actually this week. So I agree with everything that they said, especially what David was saying. When you're playing, most VR games, have this kind of mechanic of teleporting or swinging around. I really like the story behind it. I think it's a bit too long, maybe the initial screen where they tell the story. But I like the idea of the developers, so of having the wolf hands. He lost his arms and everything because of the pigs, right? So now he wants vengeance, and this crazy scientist built robotic arms that he can actually shoot and use as swing. Right. Or to grab things. So the idea is pretty nice, because in the end, as we said, most VR games have the same mechanics, right? You have to build a good story behind it.
I do like the combination of what they put all in the game. So you do have the movement, then you have a fixed position from where you shoot and where you interact. So this makes it a nice VR experience. So you're not continuously moving, but you're also not just stuck to one position. So you have a nice mix, which makes it less having the motion sickness part, which is good. And then you do have the movement through like a hook and everything, so a story behind it, which is nice. I don't think necessarily like it needs to show you the way, maybe to give you more possibilities of ways. Like that there is not just this one path you have to find.
Right.
Like where is the next green thing lighting up where it can hook to, but maybe just more things that I can just find a way forward.
I guess Wolves and Pigs has a great first impression from you guys.
Relatively good.
And let's move to the next question. Is it gonna appeal to 30 to 40 North American gamers in the market?
This question comes from the fact that, in Korea, people in their 30s and 40s, they're probably playing VR games like this.
Right.
And they're trying to see if this would appeal to the same age in America, in the US, or in Canada, but I strongly believe that it would not.
Maybe with the rebranding, maybe.
Probably, but I think it's not in their plan to do a rebranding for this. This is what they have. They just want to test if it might work in the US like it is.
Right.
And it would not work for that age.
Maybe younger.
span. Yeah, maybe younger, definitely.
Yeah.
Probably middle school or like teenagers.
Yeah, middle school would love this.
Middle school would love this game,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
Yes,
Gernot?
because you need to have to come out a bit of yourself. like you need to try to explore, you need to move around, you maybe need to use the VR space in the game to duck from the shooting stuff and everything. And then the low poly style, I mean, I love low poly, but it is more to younger group, age group, than to the 30 to 40.
Then the UI and UX, what do you think?
There's some issues with it, like sometimes the buttons didn't work.
Yeah.
So you just clicked the button and it didn't go on. Then we previously already discussed that it is too much merging into each other. So you can't really see which button, where is the button first of all. And then you maybe see, okay, what it might be for. For example, skipping the trailer, that there is this fast forward button, but it has the same color as everything around it.
Which is so weird because the UI UX for like actually when you're grappling is very good. When you move, when you even hover over it, it turns a different color. It turns like slightly green. So like it's easily tell. You could easily tell that there's some functionality here, and then it's not present in all other aspects of like video game, which I think is an easy fix. Honestly, I think that's an easy fix.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. So settings and buttons and things that you can click in the lobby, for example, are too merged with the environment. They are part of the environment. You can't really distinguish if that's something you can click, if that's a menu option, or if it's part of the environment. So I think it was a good idea. It's a good idea to do that because you're fully immersed, and that's the whole VR point. But in this case, you need to kind of give visual cues to the player. I personally, it was hard for me to find the exit button, for example, because it was like hidden on the left in the menu in the lobby. Or even the move forward button, the fast forward button. I didn't know that I could click that. I was watching the whole thing, and it's pretty long, as I said.
It's so long.
Yeah. And
so also during the game, you do have the videos which explain you something, but I think it would make more sense if you have like a small arrow pointing towards the thing you have to look for. For example, there was a chest and a key hanging in the air. So if there would be just an arrow showing you, here is the key, just grab it. Here's the box, just put it in, instead of a video, that would make it more interactive and more easier to get used to. Because otherwise you stare first at the video and then you search around, okay, where is this thing that I just saw?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The video was, they had this thing of having like the screen in the VR, right? So again, very immersive. So you feel like you're looking at the screen. But it was, I don't know if it's my eyes, it was kind of small for me. I couldn't really see what was happening in that small video. And then I had to look at that, and it's like very quick also. And then I have to move and try to look for the things that I just kind of saw in the video. So maybe having arrows and things that can guide you, it's better. And the screen is definitely too small for me, at least.
Okay, then what do you say to fix or to update this version to be like get in the North American market?
They shouldn't aim at the current at the generation that they're aiming at. It's not gonna work. They can brand it for a younger generation, so probably teenagers or kids in middle school. That might work. I can think of my niece, for example, coming back from school and playing this. Definitely, it's not gonna work with my sister, for example, or I don't know, or my brother. Definitely not gonna work.
Right. And any other comments on or suggestion?
I think we've kind of already said most of the suggestions, but I think it has potential. Honestly, if they just change the market they're aiming for, I think it could do well, like somewhat well.
Today we checked the 4 games. Any comments for the 4 games or today's interview?
I mean, talk is really cheap. We got to sit on this couch. We got to have fun just saying like, hey, this could have been improved. This could have been better. But, genuinely, like, developing a video game is extremely difficult. I think, like, all these games, like, if they were to improve some things, I think they could actually be fun to play. It's super cool, like, that we have an ecosystem here where we can get together and we can just try to make games better, and that's just that's just a function that exists that we can just do. And it was fun for us, and I'm sure that the games will be improved. And I don't know what'll happen with this video, but we talked a lot of stuff, so hopefully it'll be entertaining for somebody. So
First of all, a lot of respect for the developers again. I think David made a really good point. Even the game that looked the most simple one,
we could never make.
there is a lot of we could never make. There is a lot of work behind it, and actually, you can feel that the founder of the startup or the developers really are passionate about it. Really want to do something with it, right? I could feel it with almost every game. So yeah, a lot of respect for them. It was interesting to see how. Because these games are developed in Korea, right, by Korean developers, and they have Korean founders and so on. So it was interesting to see how they are looking at the game industry, how they're looking at games in general, and how they're trying to compare that with the West.
I found it, first of all, super nice combination of different platforms. So you have the mobile game, you have the laptop, and then you have the VR. And it shows really how different games can be and what possibilities games can also have, like with the VR in comparison to the computer and the mobile versions. So everything can be played by the audience without any big complications.
Before we finish it, and each all you guys' own opinion, not public one. So let's make sure developers and other players' opinions could be different. And today, thanks for your time for the Korean game industry.
Woo!
Yeah, and I hope we can see you around soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay! Thanks for having us.